You're watching Lansdowne Roar, the voice of the fans. Coming up, we asked the question, should some Ireland matches be moved from Dublin? Plus, will it be Lee Carsley in charge of the three lines when they come to Dublin in September? And new Ireland manager, Heimer Hallgrimsson, still getting that hang of that one. He's driven all the way to John O'Shea's house down in Waterford. Will he get on board? All this and more coming up on Lansdowne Roar. And it's live, by the way. How is it going? David Dunn here, joined by the Debbie Debbie McGee of Irish podcasting, Martin Prendergast. And as always, if you like what you see and you love what you hear, if you're brave enough to make it this far, please scan that QR code, hit that subscribe button, head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. And if you want opinion, head over to our website, which is lansdowneroar.ie. That is lansdowneroar.ie. If you're new to Lansdowne Roar live, welcome. Very simple how it works. We pick normally about 3 topics. We have a bit of a chin wag about it. And then you have your say. And then you can talk about pretty much whatever you want for the next hour and a bit. We are going to be live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. And we're live on 3 Twitter pages. Lansdowne Roar, Lansdowne Road, and of course our friends over at Republic of Ireland Player Tracker. So if you don't follow any of those, follow them, please. And don't forget to give the YouTube channel a cheeky subscribe. Martin, sorry about the long 2-minute intro there that I sort of botched. How are you? Where you were watching the women's game? Initial thoughts on that?
Oh, my initial thoughts on that, David. I like what a great night for Irish football. But my initial thoughts, Dexy's Midnight Runners.
And why is that?
Come on, Eileen. Yeah. Did you get it? Yeah. I was so excited about that joke. But no, it was brilliant, wasn't it? I mean, I've never seen we love seeing Vera Powell celebrating when Ireland won. But Eileen takes it to another level. And
she hasn't been celebrating for a while, Martin.
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that as well. But no, look, in all seriousness, they made a brave decision bringing the football down to the women's games down to Cork. I mean, obviously the home of Denise O'Sullivan, and we are going to obviously chat about it and whether the men should do so. But brilliant result. I mean, before the World Cup, we played France in Tala in a warm-up game, and I travelled over to see that one, and they're an exceptional football team, France. One of the favourites, did very well in that World Cup. Scoreless that night, to be honest, made a lot of mistakes. But, to beat the second ranked team in the world, that's a hell of an achievement. And I know, you got to think we have kind of spoken a little bit about the women's game on the show. And we've said that, a little bit of a low ebb. We've had a few kind of after the World Cup, we had the kind of situation, obviously, with Vera, the controversy there, stepping down, Eileen getting the job, a bit of a mess of the management recruitment there. Again, lots of questions being asked of that. Eileen stepped in with it. We had the Katie McCabe kind of, getting too big for her boots and things like that. Lots of other kind of politics in the background going on. And, where we should have been kicking on with, celebrating the women's game, we've had lots of other challenges to deal with. And I think, last night was a wonderful result for Irish football. And gives them a big lift as well, especially on the back of the recent abuse scandal as well and controversy with that. So,
of course,
it was a good week, really, after, taking on England in Norwich. And, okay, they were peppered that night and, it could have been a lot worse, that result. But they did score a goal. That was a momentous thing for them in the group as well. I think it gave the girls confidence. And then to travel down to Cork in front of a good crowd as well. I mean, I know the FAI gave a lot of tickets away, but they do have this incredible fan base, the Irish women's team. And to reward them with a win was fantastic to see.
No, look, I mean, it's fantastic. Great result, of course, but I mean, a little too late, isn't it? They are going to be relegated from League A back down to League B of the Nations League. And yeah,
one important thing though, Dave, they have secured like the seeding, which is good for the playoff. So, they will avoid some of the top ranked teams in that to qualify.
So have a good chance to qualify for the first ever European Championships as well.
Yeah.
Quick question. So that was the joke that you were preparing all day? that you actually said to me. It's like, right. I've got a joke from this morning. I've got a joke, right? You have to ask me this, right? Feed me the joke. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
This is like
And that
Disneyland.
was
You're
it.
ruining the magic. It's off the cuff. This stuff half the time, isn't it? Right. So don't ruin it
Off
as
the
if I've
bleeding
you
head,
know I've
more
got this
like.
really good joke and stuff. Look, I'm very happy, obviously, today watching Irish football on the front pages for the right reasons. I think it's a lovely story as well. Julianne Russell, the goal scorer of the goals last night, obviously with Denise O'Sullivan, and I think it's a lovely story for her. I mean, amazing, and it's all gone viral. It's all very positive today. The celebration for her daughter Rosie, who's the most famous baby in Ireland now. And yeah, I just like positive stories around Irish football, and this is certainly going to give the women's game a lift.
No, and it will. And of course, the big question we're going to ask tonight, and we're going to have a little chat about it, and we want you to have your say on it out there. And that is, should some Ireland matches be moved from Dublin to somewhere around the country? Because obviously, last night's match was taken away, out of Dublin altogether. I was moved down to Park Queeve down in Cork, of course, a gas stadium. There was a bit of controversy with that stadium, wasn't there, when they got trying to get a charity game for the memory of Lee Miller.
Yeah.
And thankfully, no such controversy this time around. But that's the question we want to ask the Roar faithful out there: should they move some Ireland matches from Dublin? Are you from Dublin and you're against it? Why are you for it? Why? Tell it. If you're out there and you travel outside of Dublin to the games, tell us about what challenges you have. We want to hear from you guys. We're going to have a little chat about anything you, of course, you want to talk about as well. Out there, just lash them in the comments, and we'll get started on that. But yeah. So, Martin, do you think? Do you think they should be moving games outside of Dublin?
I do think they should. Yeah, I think the main reason for me is that they need this. They need the Republic of Ireland fans to fall in love with the team and support them all over. And at the moment, the fact it's in Dublin only, that it doesn't serve to kind of spread the word of Irish football, basically. And I know the argument will be, well, they've got no stadium around the country, and we haven't
But they
even got a
don't.
football stadium. Yeah, but we haven't even got a football stadium ourselves, of course. So apart from obviously Lansdowne Road, but it's not ours, it's leased. But I think it's definitely worth doing, because I think you do have to kind of grab the imagination of the public, and to bring games around Ireland, I think would be very beneficial to the FAI. Again, they used to do the things of football, the little kind of, what was it, kind of like festival of football. That was it, John
Yeah.
Delaney's baby. And it did bring around that. They used to have ex-players, Ray Houghton, Richard Dunn, going to those events. And the football camps would be on as well, and inevitably there'd be a donation of tickets for a future game. But they do need to get people behind it. And when you've got like a big city like Cork, we saw it last night, you do get support. Now, I don't mind if they give tickets away for some of these games. It might actually be feasible to do that for these games that Heimer's looking to do, isn't he, with the League of Ireland kind of squads and things like that, to look at players. This is what I've been kind of craving, this kind of PR drive that they need to get people really engaged with football generally on the island. And I know the infrastructure is not there travel wise, but I think it's definitely something they have to kind of do, to kind of, even going to Munster, you've got that big connection with rugby down there. You need to kind of try and get football in there.
James, one of our contributors, one of our writers over at LansdowneRoar.ie, knows his stuff. He mentioned this to me actually. Like we're talking there about Heimer, getting just domestic based players playing for Ireland, like a B international, but I think outside of international windows as well. Domestic based players outside of international windows. In January this year, Iceland played Guatemala and Honduras in friendlies with a squad made up of domestic players. Sweden did the same in January. They played Estonia with entirely domestic players. So it seems to be a new thing that they're doing to sort of bring up the standard of.
Yep. Even bringing back the B internationals could be something worth looking at. And it's not so long ago. I think we played Nottingham Forest, didn't we? We had Richie Byrne on. Yeah, we had Richie Byrne was on with us as well. So chatting about that experience. And I think it's definitely something that we should be looking at. We had the game in Thomond Park. We played in Turner's Cross in 2016, the last game before 2016 Euros. Went down there and played Belarus. And I'll be honest with you, I can kind of speak independently of this, because I'm traveling to every game anyway from London. So it was as easy for me. It was actually easier for me getting to Turner's Cross that evening than getting to Lansdowne Road. So because of traffic and everything like that, it was simple. Basically, the airport was closer. So um, I've got no problem with that.
Yeah, but I
But I do
mean,
think you should bring I think you should bring the country to, well, football to the country, basically.
I think though the FEI, I mean, they don't own it. They don't really. I mean, they got Turner's Cross. That's not up to it. Really. That's obviously where they played Belarus. Before they went off to 2002 Euro 2016, Shea Gibbons' last game for Ireland as well. That was, but I mean, you don't have a stadium. They'd have to lease it from. You'd either have to lease if you were going to move it to Limerick, like they have done before Thomond Park. That was 09, I believe,
Mm.
when we played Australia. That was a nightmare to get down to and to get back down to Limerick because I remember at the time, I've said the story a couple of times where, I asked, "How do I get back?" "Oh well, that's up to you." Like,
Mm.
try get a bus. This is the FAI. Try get a bus. Well, do you not run buses? Like, is that not
Mm.
something you should do? You should think of. I'm sure make it. If I got to travel down to the country, that's fine. But I was a bit wet behind the ears. Didn't have a clue. Cork as well. Yeah, look for me personally, flying down to Cork would probably be just as easy. Yourself coming from London. Um, but it's trying to get. I don't think it's getting down to the game that would be a problem. It's getting back from the game. And if you
Yeah.
don't drive, you're kind of screwed because there's not going to be any late night trains from Cork to Dublin.
Mm.
And whether they'd have coaches or not, you'd probably supporters club would have to probably do it themselves. I think in a perfect world, Martin, we would have, you'd have stadiums kind of dotted in the four corners of Ireland. That the Irish team go and play spread football. I think that's quite good. I do think. I don't think we've got like the infrastructure out, like the travel infrastructure, the transport outside of Dublin's pretty grim.
Mm.
Let's be honest, and it's not even great in Dublin. I'm sorry, it's not. When you live in a city like London, it's just not. Not even London. You look at Amsterdam, you look at other cities where the infrastructure is just absolutely top class. And Ireland should be so much better, but it isn't. I would say I think domestic based Ireland. I think domestic based Ireland teams being played. I think you could do that around certain League of Ireland grounds. If you could get like a 10,000 seater stadium, like a Shamrock Rovers size stadium in Galway or down in Cork or something like that. What does Turner's Cross hold? That holds about 6,000, is it?
Yeah, it's probably a little bit more than that, maybe. But like Parky Queeve's perfect for it. Now I know that's the GAA kind of angle and everything on that as well, of course. But it can host it, and with some modifications, I'm sure as well. But
7,000, 7,500.
yeah, I
Thank
mean,
you, Google.
but you've got to be looking at Tom Park as well. Places that are used to hosting kind of international events. They do it for the rugby, and I get the transport thing. I mean, if only the FAI had a sponsorship link with a company like Air Coach. Oh, we do. That's the thing. That's where you can run buses and you can help the fans do it. If you have more engagement with supporters groups and stuff, you would bring down crowds to it. I know of Cork-based Irish fans in our supporters club who travel up and down for the games to Dublin, and it's hard work on them. And I like I said, I can say it traveling from London, it's a difficult. It's probably easier for me actually getting there from Cork. So I do get the angle of there's no infrastructure and things like that, but we've got to be looking to promote it and get it around elsewhere, and
I
even
do
putting on
agree.
more of these kind of games. Waterford hosts the under-21 games, does very well with that.
Yeah.
Sadly we lost out. Buckley Park in Kilkenny was absolutely brilliant. I was at under-21 games there over the years, and they've just let that go to rack and ruin, which is a massive shame, but because that was well able to do so. But I think I'd like to see it happen, and the main reason why is because I think I know it's different, and I know England's a bigger country and bigger football kind of supporting fan base as well. But
Mm-hmm.
it worked really well. I think that was one of the big things of England done very, very successfully when
When
Wembley
Wembley
was
was being
being.
built.
But then they still do it though, and they do it with the women's team as well. They are bringing you to to the public, and people then go, and then they think, oh, I really enjoyed that. I'll go again now to another one. Oh, I don't mind traveling up to
I,
London now to go.
do you
So
know what? I
you have
think
to
if
do it.
yeah, I mean, like I think a town like Cork, if you had like as well with Lansdowne Road, the Viva, even the last game it was poorly subbed. They still had 30,000. You know, I can't see them. Even if you're looking at who was that against Hungary, who aren't really a big. I think they're 20th in the world. Well, they were anyway before the
Mm.
Euros, and they were a decent side. I thought they actually would do a lot better than they did. They were very poor, I thought, in the Euros. But you're looking at that going, 30,000 people going to Lansdowne Road. There's no other country, there's no other stadium in the country that holds anywhere near that. That's an FAI stadium. Also, if you're the FAI, you're looking at, the GAA are tricky to deal with as well when it comes to the foreign enemy, so to speak,
Mm.
the foreign game, and then you have to pay them a premium. You have to, they need a stadium. They probably need something like a 20,000 seater stadium down in Cork. Plow a bit of money into Turner's Cross. Use that as a bit of a municipal stadium as well. And then have something maybe in Galway, and then you build a stadium. You don't really want to be paying money to the GAA. You don't want to be giving them loads of money, because that kind of defeats the purpose. That's money that should be going into football in this country. They get enough as it is. They're even getting a new stadium built. Well, we think with the Euros coming, but anyway, that's a whole other discussion. And you really just want to build something around the country, a little municipal stadium, and you start it off with the domestic-based Ireland players, and you sell the tickets at a nice discounted rate. You pack the stadiums out, nice family night out, nice night out for the family, and they go watch Ireland. Well, it's an Ireland team, and then you start to grow that. You start to grow the popularity that way with the grassroots. Make it accessible as possible, and I think people will try. I'd still travel to the games if I could. Fly to whatever direct, or if you could get a coach. I think it could work, but it just takes planning.
Yeah, it does. But with this, I'd go so far as to actually, and our conflict of interest declared here, living in London, do a game in London once a year, right?
Yeah.
The Irish kind of diaspora. You've got people who travel in for it. I mean, I know this is going to sound nuts what I say now, but like people travelled from America to see Taylor Swift at Wembley, right? Now I know that's massive high demand, the Eras Tour, wherever it is, right? But people travel for these events. If you can put on a big event and bring in a top international team, it doesn't necessarily have to be in Dublin. Like, we played Brazil in the Emirates. That was a great occasion in a way. It was nice to go to the Emirates as a stadium, different, see Ireland playing there. Fulham, we created a good atmosphere there. Now I know they struggled. They've probably done it a little bit too much, but we've got links with kind of Brentford. That should have been where the Irish women's game was the other day. If they didn't want to try and do it at Wembley, it should have been down in Brentford.
I think Fulham.
We should be moving to have a game, and even you would sell it out. You would bring second, third generation Irish. You would bring like a game in London as a kind of business opportunity as well. Like
they had games in London. They never sold out, Martin, to be fair, unless they played Italy, Craven Cottage, and
Brazil,
Nigeria.
Yeah, but I think it's timings though sometimes, and I think I am speaking very biased on this. It's quite handy, but I just think it's a good opportunity to kind of engage with even supporters clubs, and we're not qualifying for tournaments anymore, so we're not at the moment, so we're not traveling for those, but to travel to a kind of neutral country in a way, but it's going to be a good experience. Try and get things going there. It's easier for the players as well. They have their training camps here and they're based in England. That can kind of work as well, but you can kind of, I know they tried the Unity Cup, didn't they, after 2002 World Cup, where they played Nigeria, didn't they?
Got hiding off Nigeria, I remember.
And Jamaica, wasn't it? The others, I think. And I'm in the match program of that actually. But I digress. Again, that was a big thing of trying to kind of engage with different kind of cultural backgrounds in London, and I think there is an opportunity to do that. Still, I think it could be feasible, but if you get the right opposition,
I think
something to look at, definitely.
I think Ireland as a brand, like in terms of just Irishness, is a popular brand around the world. Yeah. Look at Conor McGregor. Now I know he's kind of let himself down a little bit, but people were liked. People like Ireland. They have a fascination with it. You know, there's an affinity, there's a diaspora. You could do some really good business with the Irish football team. Anything to do with Ireland, it's the opportunities there. The FAI have just never tapped into it. I think there's a possibility. I think at the moment it's a bit of a no go at the moment in terms of the men's senior team, because the FAI to rent out Croke Park, or sorry, not Croke Park, Park Equive, or I don't even know, Semple Stadium down at Thurles. Sure, that I don't think that could actually host, and it would depend on the fixture as well, because I don't know. Is there a disparity between regulations from women's football and men's football in terms of the stadiums, or is it the same?
No, there shouldn't be. The only thing that will affect the men's one is, the season ticket package. That can you
Yeah.
accommodate that?
Oh yeah,
That
you
would be
got it.
the only
Yeah,
thing. But no, with regards to,
the
you
quality of
can host
stadium.
a
I'm
game where
thinking.
you want. We know that from there will be qualities of stadiums, obviously, that UEFA
Yeah,
kind of have to
but obviously
kind of
Park Equive
delegate.
must pass
Cost.
it if it's
Exactly. Yeah.
hosting a Nations League game, which is goes under the umbrella of competitive football. I mean, I think we could be here all day, and we won't. But what do you guys think? Some of the points made there, and I see some of the comments coming in there. We will get to those, but obviously, yeah, I think there's talk of having a domestic Irish football team to give League of Ireland players a chance, which is also lovely because it puts them on the shop floor, doesn't it? To maybe get a move away to England or wherever. Tell us what you think in the comments. We're going to move it on to the next topic, and that is Lee Carsley. There he is on the England bench. Obviously, since we've last recorded, I did a solo show, Martin. I was like James O'Brien was, except less patronising. He's a disc jockey on LBC. In case anyone out there is wondering, have you ever heard of James O'Brien, Martin?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've listened to James
Do you
O'Brien in
listen
the
to him a
past.
lot?
Not really.
Oh, why is that? You don't like his
No, I
politics,
just
eh?
have. No, I don't listen to the radio too much, to be honest.
Fair
So,
enough. That I
I
can't
listen.
believe.
I do listen to Talk Sport on the weekend. Normally, I'm kind of driving somewhere in the morning, and that's where I catch Tony Cascarino. And he does. To be fair to Tony Cascarino on Talk Sport, he often will, slip in a kind of Irish reference and talk about, even when he was talking about Turkey the other day at the Euros, he was saying how he's still banned and playing in like hostile situations and what he did and things. So, yeah, how he was
Okay.
attacked by a police officer. But yeah, I'd listen to that radio. Was
Fair enough. So you
I
listen.
listen. We have to listen to. I listen to a few podcasts, of course. But I mean, like
Yes.
everyone,
Well, anyway,
if I want the Irish news, it's us, isn't it, Dave? You want to be listening to us.
that's it. Yeah, you don't even listen to any other podcast. Anyway, let me get to the fucking point. Basically, yes, I did a solo there. I was talking about England, and lots of people were. I made a new friend of the podcast, Isabella Duffy. Yeah, she loved me, Martin. Oh yeah, young lady from Derry, living in Spain. She swore at me, Martin. She hurt my feelings. But yeah, lots of people taking great joy in England's defeat on Sunday. And of course, that has led to the resignation of Gareth Southgate. The England manager stepped down, I think, with dignity. England's second most successful manager, I think. Two semi-finals and a final. Oh, sorry, final and two finals and a semi-final, but no trophy, unfortunately. So he stepped down, and ironically, that could lead England needing a interim manager, and it could be this man, Lee Carsley, as we pointed out. How? I mean, do you reckon? First of all, do you reckon they'll need an interim manager, and it'll have to be the under-21s coach? That is normally the case, isn't it? Unless
Yeah,
there's action, unless they're in action, are they? Or
I think it will. They will need an interim manager. So it's nice for England, despite all their success.
now you know how it
to,
feels.
to know how we feel. I think I'm not sure. I will check see if England under 21s are in action, because I know Ireland
Yeah.
are. So a few days before we're playing Turkey. So I would guess maybe England have fixtures as well. But it's just football, isn't it? It's mad. It just throws up these kind of weird kind of conundrums and surprises. And the man who was most highly linked with us, and we were waiting on, and we were thinking, yeah, it was going to be perfect fit, Carsley. Here we're going to get him from England, and obviously didn't happen. Even his mates, like close associates, Kevin Kilban was kind of doing the kind of press thing
and
for
Conor
him.
McAvoy.
Yeah,
Photograph my tracker.
but just pushing for him, and for great credentials and everything like that. And yeah, it was all the speculation really that is Gareth going to stay on, and if they win and things like that. I knew he'd go. I know in mid
Yeah.
tournament, I think the press thing turned on him, and I think he was quite disappointed with that. And I thought just class act, isn't he? It was actually interesting. I was reading some. Here we go. Roy Keane mentioned by me. Surprise, surprise. But
Well, we've
Roy
got
actually said
25 minutes.
he's a class guy, and and Gary Neville kind of said he was surprised that he speaks so glowingly of him, especially because he kind of had to at one
Stamp
time
on him.
extract his boot from his
Well, he
chest.
thought he was on fire, didn't he? So he had to just
Yeah,
sort of put it out. Yeah, stamp
decent
on
lad.
it. Put it. Yeah.
But I knew he'd go. But yeah, it's just mad now. It could be Carsley coming in as an interim. I think they will want to get it right, England, and it's an attractive job ultimately. It's who can bring them onto the next level, and they've got to get that right, England, because they're very close. And I think they just over. I know I wasn't on with the post show the other day because apparently I was drowning my sorrows, according to some people. But it's they're close to it, and I think there was a bit of an overreaction from like, oh, do we need to be more adventurous now? It's very narrow margins really, and those players I think kind of bottled it as much as Southgate did, because you can kind of they've got the ability within that group to do really well,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of them let their country down. Basically, they didn't perform to the levels they should.
Here's the question I
That's
want to
not the
ask.
manager.
Here's the question I want to ask Roar Faithful. If Lee Carsley, and there's every chance he could be, it depends who they have lined up. I think Eddie Howe apparently is the guy being lined up, the domestic choice, and then of course it could be Klopp. I mean, it won't be Guardiola because I think he's going to do another season in City, but it could be Klopp. I'd have my reservations about that with Klopp, to be fair, because I don't know if his style of management would suit international management, unless he's good enough to change that and adapt that, and he is, because he's a world class coach. But anyway, I digress. But the question I want to ask: if it is Lee Carsley, will he get booed or should he get booed? And that's the question I put out to the Roar Faithful. Will he get booed, and should he get booed if he shows up there as England manager? Do you reckon he will, Martin?
You sound like someone kind of closely associated with the FAI and saying who encouraged the booing of one of our players at one time.
I am not encouraging. Well, he's not one of our players anymore. And the only thing he ever accomplished in a green shirt was actually costing us a place at Euro 2000. But giving away a penalty, a stupid penalty.
Harsh.
It's not very harsh. Fuck him.
Went to a World Cup.
Oh yeah, he actually played in the World Cup like 5 minutes? Did he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, and he turned down to Ireland.
No, I don't. I wouldn't want to see him be booed. First of all, be very clear on that. Don't like that. Play for Ireland, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm only Josh.
And but will he be booed? There'll be a little bit of silliness, wouldn't there, for some of our crowds, without a doubt. There'll be a few cat calls and jeers and things, more sarcastic, I think. A little bit like when Anthony Barry on Henri came back to Dublin and they got a bit of abuse when they were shown on the screen and stuff. I don't know. I doubt it, to be honest.
You don't
I
see
don't
it.
think it'd be much.
Okay, well, that's the question to put out to the Roar Faithful as well. We got your comments. Keep them coming in, guys. We'll get to them. We're gonna look at one more topic, and then we're gonna get to those comments. And anything you want to ask is really work away. We're gonna be live for the next little bit. Heimer Halgrimsson, there he is, there at a League of Ireland ground. I'm sure that looks like a story. That looks like that lovely story top that you can't actually buy underneath that, which really. If you're listening to the audio version of this afterwards, I've got a picture of Heimer up. But he's still putting together his backroom staff. I think we're pretty much going to see the same backroom staff that John O'Shea had as interim manager. But will John O'Shea be his number one or number two, whatever way you want to say that? Apparently. And I've got a few quotes here, Mark, so do bear with me. I've actually done my homework for this part of the podcast. Kind of riffing it for the last bit. This is what he had to say. My way into the Iceland national team, coaching was exactly like that. And I think the assistant coach should be the one that carries the knowledge to the next cycle. And the FEI have obviously shown that they believe O'Shea is going to be, or is good enough to be the coach. He's obviously talking about how he's taken on as Lars Lagerbäck's assistant manager. at Iceland, and then became joint manager, and then took the job solely after Lars Lagerbäck went to Norway. I continue. He said, so I think it's a no-brainer for O'Shea. Whatever happens back to me, I always say the same thing. I want to leave the shirt in a better place where I go. And or when I go, and to have a guy that has been doing the things with us is probably always the best one to take over if you want continuity, growth, and development. That kind of makes sense to me, but it's always difficult to have been the head coach and then stepping down to be an assistant coach. That makes a good character to do that. It takes a good character to do that. We still don't know if he's going to do it or not, O'Shea, but he continues. I think it's better for me to talk about it after we speak, but if he wants to meet, probably he's considering. And Hallgrimsson, I think it's more positive than negative. That's what he had to say on that. So he drove down to his house. Still haven't heard whether he's going to accept or not. That's exactly what I've been saying. I've been saying it from day one about John O'Shea, is that he should be involved in the next coaching ticket, permanent coaching ticket. So he is not the next manager. He's the manager after the next manager. That's what I've been saying from day one. Martin Heimer Helgenson agrees with me. Great minds think alike. I'm right. You're wrong. Yeah, I think we should just end the podcast there.
Yeah, no, I like. Well, first of all, I'd say about Heimer, I think he's doing. I think him and some of the people within the FAI are clearly listeners of the show.
Well, they watch anyway,
and have listened to me where I've said you've got to get out and about, and it's a bit of a PR thing now. You've got to, like I've said earlier, you need people to be invested in Irish football. And let's be honest, 2 weeks ago, if you'd gone round Grafton Street, that's my usual analogy I use, is and ask who he is, they wouldn't have a clue who he was. Now they probably will. He's been working and doing the handshake.
Often hang around Grafton Street, Martin, do you?
Yeah, I do. They
sorry.
They yeah, cheers, my friend, train of thought. But no, what I would say is, he, they wouldn't have a clue he was. Now he's been going around the League of Ireland. There's been a particular thing from the media covering all that as well, especially online, social media, showing him. I know it's more than that, but it's good. You're seeing engagement. I mean, I saw a photo today of him wearing like a kind of little Ireland hat and everything, like at the Ireland women's game last night. I think that's important. I think he's said very openly at his first press conference that he wanted to kind of invest in Irish culture, understand it, talking all the right kind of words about, hardworking nation, good people, blah, blah, blah. And he's kind of backing that up by going out and meeting fans and having photos. And I know Stephen Kenny was fantastic for that as well. But obviously Stephen Kenny lived in the country and was born in the country. So whereas Heimer's coming in and he is showing he's invested in it. Obviously the proof's going to be in it with coaching and what he does. And getting his backroom staff is going to be critical for that. I've reservations. I think it's a weird thing, John. I'd love John O'Shea to be involved in it. I like John O'Shea, but I would like to see John O'Shea get experience. And I think one of the things now, just this whole farcical situation of having John O'Shea as an interim, is that you've got the situation now when results are going bad, who's pulling the strings? Or was John O'Shea? Well, actually, he was a lot better when he played there under John O'Shea, and look at what's happened now. I think I think it's just a kind of dangerous situation with that for John O'Shea, and I don't think he's been treated well by the FAI at all. I think he's obviously an honourable man, and will be a future candidate to be an Ireland manager without doubt, and that's obviously his dream and what he wants to do. But I think it'd be great if he goes away and gets experience. But I can understand him wanting to stay involved and be part of this progression plan, which I know that's actually the FAI to decide if that's going to be the thing. But you can easily drift away in this game, go off and be a, coach somewhere else and just drift away and everyone forget you. And you're actually, you're taking steps away from that dream job of yours, of what you've got aspirations to have in the long term. So I'd like him to be involved. So I'm just in a bit mixed quandary on that, to be honest. And he will make the right decision. He'll seek advice from, what minute we in, Dave? He'll seek advice from Sir Alex, of course,
35
the greatest manager of all time. But I think like a lot of fans, he has to win over some of the fans still because they tar John O'Shea, I think, quite unfairly with the Kenny era.
Yeah, I think that's unfair too. Although I think there are some questions I would like to ask. John O'Shea, the Kenny era was. Did you voice your concerns? Were they ignored, or did you not voice them about the issues under Kenny? Because we saw those changes, immediate changes when he played Belgium that time. They were more aggressive, more compact, etc. Yeah, look, I mean, I'd like to see him. To be honest, I think I think John O'Shea. I would like to see him stay in the Ireland setup. It just makes sense. You've got the next manager sewn up. Then it just makes sense. You got the next manager sewn up and say, look, if you guys are good, unless it's complete catastrophe, I don't think it will be. I think this guy is going to be good for us. The more I hear about him, the more I've seen of him, the more impressed I am by him, and I think it'd be good for John O'Shea to learn from him as well. And I think it'd be great experience, and it'll be that continuity, that Liverpool, that Anfield way that they did for years, that was always successful, and they've gone away from. Yeah, I did bring it up, Martin. Yes, because it's true. But it is true, isn't it? The
No, I
whole,
know, yeah.
you know,
No,
shouting to
I
pace.
like it.
Yeah,
I think I have
makes
reservations
sense.
of some of the others, like Glenn Whelan being in there. Very inexperienced. But the only way you're going to get experience is giving these people opportunities. And again, that's trusting that the FAI kind of development structure for their coaches is a you've got to support that, whether you race it or not. People are, the FAI are encouraging people to sign up to their coaching courses and go down
Yeah,
this pathway. You've got to kind of then show that this is where you can get to by doing those courses and spending money on those courses and investing in the games. So, there a lot of the doors open for these ex pros on the back of the name, of course. But the proof of things is going to be obviously in results. And I think John O'Shea took a big step coming up from the under-21s. I like it that I think that's good. He knows all the players better than that Heimer will
yeah,
initially. I mean, even not to go off on a tangent or digress too much on this, but there's the speculation of Sinclair Armstrong leaving
um,
QPR,
actually,
right?
that's been confirmed.
Okay, yeah, he's leaving.
Fabrizio
Yeah.
Fabrizio Romano, because you've just said it there. So
Mm.
there is a comment here. I'm gonna, just in the interest of fairness and how we do it, I was gonna leave it to later on. But Martin shot his load. Daniel Hanley, Fabrizio Romano tweeted about Sinclair Armstrong, and I have the tweet right here in front of me, ready to go. He has tweeted, Irish 20-year-old striker Sinclair Armstrong's decided to join Bristol City from QPR. Despite many proposals, Armstrong wants Bristol City, and deal will be signed soon. That's released 35 minutes ago. So there you go.
Okay. Because my point on that was though, because I know Stoke came into him very late on. He obviously had a year to run at QPR, and I'll be interested to see what Deck Finnegan, massive QPR fan and member of West London, of course, and gives a lot of insight into QPR and the Irish lads there. Be interested to get his take on is that a good move for him? Is he disappointed to see Sinclair Armstrong move on? But there was the speculation linking him to Stoke was because of John Waters had worked with him at the under-19s at Ireland. So he's seen the kind of development of Sinclair Armstrong. He's now involved at Stoke. And that's why he was thinking, oh, we should make a bid for him here because that was what the speculation is anyway. Obviously, it's kind of come to nothing if he's going to choose Bristol. Yeah. But, that just shows you these players have come through. I mean, I was looking at old team sheets the other day of games, and like you forget some of the lads in our senior squad have all played underage together. A lot of them at different teams and things. They've come through and played under 15s, under 19s, under 17s. They're in around squads together. Same as England, of course, as well. So you've just got to. You forget that sometimes when the squads come in and who actually knows each other and plays with each other and stuff. I was going to go off on another tangent there, Dave. Did you see?
Let's not.
Can I just go on to one thing?
Go
Did you
on.
see who was at Wimbledon with his pal the other day? Wimbledon final?
No.
With Jack Grealish, Callum Robinson, because they're best mates, aren't they? From their Birmingham and Birmingham days. Well, days growing up in Birmingham and.
He had an ad. Did you see that on? I was watching it on ITV. He had an ad for Grealish, or I think it was Hellman's. Was it mayonnaise?
Yeah,
or something
Hellman's
like?
Mayonnaise. Yeah, barbecue stuff. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Right, we're going to move it on to tell us what you think there, guys. We're going to move on to the comments. Martin, I did send you a private message there. Have a read of that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. What it is, don't worry, nothing sexy. Well, actually, it is. It depends what your definition of sexy is. So today we're working on an ad, little treat for you guys up here.
An exclusive.
It is exclusive. Actually, we put together a little ad that we're going to put out there to advertise the page. and we're quite happy with it. We just want to get your thoughts on it. It's the Green Machine. Oh God, the Lansdowne Roar.
Jeez.
Shit, sorry. I'll be sued for saying that. The Lansdowne Roar. I can't believe I said that.
That is brilliant. Yeah, you know what? We've got to clip the bit my reaction because my eyes just
My
one of
reaction.
them.
Your
Yeah.
reaction. Christ. So here we go. Anyway, here's a 1 minute ad, and then we're gonna take a little 1 minute break, and then we're gonna get into the comments. But here it is. Here is the exclusive, world exclusive of our brand new advert that we're gonna put out on all social media. Here we are. We're going. Tell us what you think. David Dunn here from Lansdowne Road.
We've just arrived here in Gibraltar.
Roll.
Yeah, we're not in Gibraltar, guys. We're not in Gibraltar.
Sadly, I'm not in Lansdowne Road. I'm here in Amsterdam.
Gibraltar. The rock over there. The rock.
Stadio Municipal Aveiro. Something along the lines, anyway. As you can see, it is pissing wet.
Trying to give us a good experience this evening. So
Get into your little seat, you.
yeah, I've been off the drugs 3 times.
Last in the driver for you too. I feel like you're one of the RTDs years ago.
Let me tell you something about you two, right? They have
on the
done
flight.
so much for this country. I did.
Here with a big car park beside the ground. Not too much to do.
Yes.
This country, Portugal,
Every country.
Europe. Behind me here, you can see there is some snacks.
Show some respect.
The rock over there.
No.
We're not going to be playing Gibraltar in any of the countries.
Well, that's the way of the world these days.
And it's true. Everywhere they go, we go. Can't get away from it.
Right.
Yeah, so tell us what you thought of that ad there, guys, for Lansdowne Roar. Not what I said previously. I've been working on it all bloody well week. That's what it is. And yeah, you should show some respect for U2, by the way. They have done a lot for Ireland and Europe and the world and Africa and all those other places. Right. Shall we? And that is true, by the way. We were offered that was in Faro, and when we sat down to make that video, we were offered cocaine about how many times?
Yeah, it was
like
mad,
3.
really.
Yeah, could have had a wild night, you and me, eh? And the old clubby marching powder. Whatever. Anyway, we're going to move on. We're going to go to the comments of deliriously knackered. Right. Here we go. Paul Healy. How you doing, Paul? I think the FEI should run buses to Dublin games from the major cities from Waterford. It's train or bus up, but only options home are the 10:45 and 11:45 buses home, on which is a sprint back from the stadium. See, there we go again. Like, I totally get it there, Paul. I mean, I must admit, even trying to get back to, I stay in Swords most of the time, and even trying to get back to Swords when I finish doing the podcast, and I meet, if I get a chance to meet the lads for a chipper afterwards, trying to get a bus back to Swords is a nightmare. I can only imagine, and I do sympathise with anyone trying to get back to Donegal. Another friend of mine, friend of the pod as well. He lives up in Donegal, and it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare. That there should be some cohesion there. Talk to the bus companies. Maybe get it with your match ticket or something. There's a way to do it. Name on the list. There's easy ways to do this. Joe Radford, how you doing, Joe? On Twitter. Could do one in Park and Quay. Well, I mean, he did yesterday, and it seemed to do quite well. But yeah. Sorry, I just realised that I haven't plugged in my laptop and my battery's quite. I'm having a nightmare tonight, folks. I do apologize. I'm making all sorts of mistakes. I don't even know what podcast I'm on anymore. Oh, here's one for you, Martin. This will give me a bit of time while I cleverly reattach my laptop. Scrap John O'Shea. Get a full new management team. Don't want to see any resemblance of Kenny Ball. 3, 2, 1, and go.
Yeah. I don't agree with that at all. No, I think John O'Shea came in quite late to it, and as far as I could see, was kind of part responsible for the set piece arrangements, really. Because when I watched the kind of warm ups and even during the games when we had set pieces, John O'Shea kind of seemed to be the one organising those kind of things. And you got to remember that coaches do come in under managers, and they are given specific kind of roles and duties. So, for example, assess the opposition, so they break down their kind of patterns of play. John O'Shea, I think, did have the responsibility for doing the set pieces. So I wouldn't tar him with a lot of the things that went wrong under Kenny.
The
And
set
I
pieces
think
were
it was
hardly going
going.
now, Martin, were they?
No, but I'm just saying I'm saying that was his role though. So I'm saying how much more can he have influence wise? He was second in command coach wise to Keith Andrews. So, there's a lot more to it in the background, what's going on coaching wise and what they're doing. And
That's a fair point.
I think it's a bit harsh to blame John O'Shea with anything on that.
Like, all joking aside, I do have to say there, David, and thank you for your comment. And we got some more coming in. We'll get to those as well. Keep coming in, guys. No, that is true. I mean, John O'Shea is a very talented coach. He's very well thought of, and yeah, look, he wasn't the assistant coach. He will be the assistant coach, I hope, under Heimer. I think that will be a very, very good appointment. I think it'd be mutually beneficial for everybody involved. But yeah, he's set piece coach. Keith Andrews,
I
he
think
was the
it's
main
also
guy there.
good. John O'Shea is relatively inexperienced as well, so it's not like he's gone from a full-time management role and then going back into being assistant somewhere. Like even like Steve McLaren, for example. Right? Okay, he's gone into assistant role later on after having a go and having kind of relative success at the main jobs, where he's been as the full manager in charge. So John O'Shea has not had that. He has had the experience as a coach, but he needs to get more of that. So I think the interim role kind of was brilliant, gave him a bit of hunger for it, and I think come in as a number 2 and kind of prove your credentials with that there.
Yeah, and keep that continuity, keep the continuity going. Brian Ward on the subject of moving the games out of Dublin. It's business. They need a population to support them. I think they will. I think Brian, the customers are there. There's just no shop floor in a lot of parts of this country, in Ireland, and that's down to the FEI. I've said it. People want football. They want it. It's the most popular sport in the country. I know that the guy heads will hate me for it, but it is the most popular sport on the planet. And they want it. And unfortunately, a lot now go to England to get it, or they watch it on telly. But there's also now, I think after COVID, there's a massive, massive clamour for live football. And people just want to go out and enjoy live football and get behind something. And there's a massive, I think there is a huge population. There is a huge support there amongst the population. There's just nowhere really to go for it. It's trying to feed the need, shall we say?
Yeah, just on the point as well. Like, I'd like to know. I mean, I'm not going to go off ranting about commercialism and getting shirts with names on the back of it and stuff too much. I've done it loads and loads of times before. They don't have it. They don't get it right. They're not going to get it right anytime soon. I'm going to have a chat with the FAI and try and get it across to them. But that game down Parky Quaid the other day, I think this program sold out. Now I don't know how many they produced, but they did sell out, right? Or you couldn't get them, because I've seen a few comments saying, I didn't manage to get a program. I think they all sold out. Wouldn't be surprised me if they didn't have a lot of them in production anyway. But that was a big thing going to Parky Quaid. Denise O'Sullivan was one of the poster girls of Irish football. You should have been able to buy an Ireland shirt with Denise O'Sullivan's name on the back of it. Now you can't. Why not? That's where they get it wrong. Cork City should also have an FAI shop, even if it's a pop-up one, for that event down there. People would have been milling around the city. That's where you go. I mean, Cork is on the kind of crest of a wave on the back of the GAA, so it's sporting interest. So it was a big event having them down there. And I don't care if they gave tickets away. They should have been trying to maximize commercial sales or things like that. And
you can get the money back of the tickets if you sell a jersey.
Yeah.
There you go. Like you've just bought, like, you buy a shirt for like €60 or a match day price, like €60 instead of €80, and you can get a free name on the back. O'Sullivan, McCabe. I remember going when I used to go to Liverpool games all the time, and even then, back in how many years ago? Probably, Martin, you've been going to football a lot longer than I have, live football anyway. And you could
Jesus.
No, I'm not. I knew that was coming, but and you could always go to the club shop and get whatever player name on the back of your shirt. I remember Liverpool one. I got I think I got Carragher on the back of mine, because I don't know why. I didn't actually want his name on it. I wanted my name on the back, but he wouldn't give me my name, so I went with Carragher. I don't know. I'll have that somewhere. But you could, they were doing that back in 2010, 2008, 2009. I'm probably doing it for like 30 years, and we still don't do this. People love Evan Ferguson. Even James McLean would sell. Not his biggest fan at the moment, but his jersey would have sold. You know, he should have stuff like that, little promotions. And yeah, you give away a ticket, fair enough. But if that fan with that free ticket goes and buys a shirt for 60, 70 euros, you've made your money back.
Yeah.
You know, you've made your money back. There's all different ways of doing it. It's not just always about it's getting bums on seats. Bums on seats, lovey, as you say in the theatre. Bums on seats. And then you got people buying programs, and you got, this is great. I really enjoy it. This match day experience is fantastic. I'm going to come back.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to pay for my ticket next time because I probably won't get it free the next time. And, it's all about, it's just simple, basic business. Anyway, we'll move it on. Paul, John Muckian was a season ticket holder last year, was traveling from Cork for every game. I got sick of traveling up and down for every game. Couldn't go through that again. Now I sympathize, John, and I'm not, you haven't stated whether that was through public transport or you drive up or you're getting a lift up a mate or whatever. But yeah, no, I can imagine it. Cork, that's what, 2 hours, 2.5 hours on the train, 3 hours on the train, I think, is it? Been a long bloody time since I've gone to Cork on the train. It's my aunt's funeral, actually. Funny enough, my great aunt, no, not my grand aunt, my granddad's sister down in Cork. Yeah, it was actually no, I won't tell my story. I like a story on the podcast. No, I remember it. It was. Oh, go on. I will. Go on, Martin. You insist. I'll tell you the story. But my brother and I went down, and we were. I think it was like St. Patrick's Church or something like that. There's a name of the church down there where the funeral was, but there's like all the churches are called this church. And I remember we were stuck outside Mallow, and anyway, we finally got in there. We got a taxi. We just went. We need to get to such and such church. He goes, oh God, there's about 3 of them. I was like, oh shit. And he goes, well, I saw a crowd at one of them. Yeah, go to that one. And we went in and we sort of just, it was like, we just stormed into the thing. We were like 15 minutes late into the funeral. And everyone kind of just staring at us because we were late, and I was like, oh God. We got the first train from Dublin down, my brother and I did. And then my mom's calling me up, come on, up to the front. And everyone was kind of like, staring daggers at us. But anyway, just thought I'd share that with you. I like a story, But yeah, John. I get your pain traveling up and down to Cork. I have done it, not for a very long time. David H. again. Nations League games would be a good idea, such as the likes of Thomond, Park Queeve, Semple, etc. Against lower opposition, but the likes of England, Antiviva outside of Dublin. The only thing is, though, even against Belgium, and it was poorly attended, they still had over 30,000 at it. They still had a fair crowd, and that was basically for free, so to speak. They didn't, they lease. Well, they own half the stadium. Wink, wink. With the IRFU, they don't have to pay the guy any rental money because do you remember when he had Croke Park? Then they charged him €1 million per game, Martin.
Ridiculous, yeah.
Yeah. And they were very awkward with the FEI. They wouldn't give him certain training days, and it was just very, they just, all right, have your blood money, have your keys. So yeah, it could work. It could work. There could be some planning done, but I think they need like a 20,000 seater stadium, municipal stadium,
and it would also complicate the season ticket package, which is what they have done for Dublin. Because you're selling something and you don't know where you're going to be. So that we're one of the few countries I think probably do that because of that reason. We have a season ticket package. England games they sell out, don't they? They have a supporters club nationally, but so you can kind of go up the rankings of that. We have individual supporters clubs and different deals with season tickets and stuff. So that's why it probably would be a bit of a challenge as well. But we can't. The thing about you wouldn't want to play England down the country, for example. We're not going to be selling out. We're not going to be selling out England anyway because of that particle situation on the ticket and way they're doing it.
Yep. Here's one for you, Martin. West Coaster. Aren't there legal prohibitions or prohibitions? Is that a word? Prohibitions? Prohibitions?
Prohibitions, yeah.
Prohibition, sorry. I just created a new word. To do with the naming rights of the Aviva, which prevent the senior men's team playing outside Lansdowne Road. Don't think there is there?
No, I don't think so. Because the stadium's just... The Aviva is a deal, naming rights for the stadium, isn't it?
Yeah.
So no, that's nothing to do with it, I don't think.
Fair enough. Stephen
Like
Ring?
when UEFA have tournaments and stuff, it becomes a Dublin stadium. You can't have it then. That's
any name with a
that's
sponsor. Any stadium with a sponsor name, the Emirates becomes
Dublin Arena or whatever it's called. Yeah, the London.
Yeah, it's like a game of Pro Evo from like the 90s. When you make up all the names. Stephen Ring, I travel up from Laois. How you doing, Stephen, by the way? And it's fairly handy. I do feel for fans from the other side of the country having to travel hours on a midweek night. It would be fair to spread them around, but how do the FEI sort season ticket holders out, just as you touched on there, Martin, as well? It's very true, Stephen. It could work. It just needs planning. Just need to sit it down. But, I mean, I think a good start would be the domestic Ireland team. I think it'd be a really good way to unearth some cracking talent, get them to work with the likes of Heimer and John O'Shea. And I think it would actually help. You know, that some managers are always moaning about, I like the day-to-day aspect. You know, it gives them more games, doesn't it? More bang for your buck, basically. It'd be more full-time. Be a more full-time management job, I suppose. Not going to read that. Waste of time.
Literally is a waste of time.
Yeah, it literally is there. Stephen Ring again for the women's match versus Sweden in the Europa League final. Irish Rail put on extra trains at midnight to Cork and Galway, but why don't they do this on men's match nights? Anyway, great question, Stephen. Great question, and it's what I'm talking about. Why doesn't Gary Spain? Gary, if you're watching, that's one for Gary maybe, or to sit down with somebody and go, right, how do we get more people? Why? One of the challenges we have is getting fans into the ground on a weeknight. Everyone's saying it. He's not from Dublin himself, is he? Is he from Limerick? What?
Yeah, I think. Well, I'm not sure, to be honest.
Treaty United.
He supports Limerick. Yeah.
Yeah.
Travel's not a problem to Gary.
No, he's well versed.
Euros.
But if you're not fortunate enough to have a car, right, and you're relying on public transport, make it easy. Should be sitting down with Irish Rail going, right, can we come to a deal? Give you a box or something. And then you give our supporters like discounted travel. If they have a match ticket, a genuine match ticket, you can get a discounted thing and a discounted travel pass or ticket or whatever on the train. And that way, everybody wins. Why not? There's no traffic on the train at night. On the railways at night.
It's not hard to do. A train, I don't know what the capacity of a train would be, but you just put it out there. Like they did it for the Europa final, they've said. You survey the fans of who, you put up a survey, you engage with fans amazingly.
Yeah.
Engage with the fan base and say, are you traveling from, Waterford or Cork? And this is, obviously the route you go. And would you be interested in traveling on a train special, which will be going at 11 o'clock? So you give everyone a time and you say, this is the time they're going back and we will meet demand. So there you go.
Yeah.
There's going to be, you have to pre-book it. And then it gets, you put a train on. You work with train people and you say, this is a football special. That's what they have in London all the time, don't they?
They had but they had the football specials back in the 70s.
Yeah.
In the 60s.
It doesn't make,
we're so far behind.
Well. Yeah.
We're so far behind.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do. If they could do it back in the 60s and 70s in Britain on British Rail back in the day, right? You can do it now with digital tickets. You know what's going on. It's very easy to do. You set up a little app, go, right, where are you coming in from? Boom. Are you going to take public transport? We're doing a survey for the train. Grand. Tickets are sold well in advance. Okay, Irish Rail. We've got like 200 fans that are going to be traveling. They want to use your thing. Grand. We'll put on whatever 4-carriage train. I don't know what you just cut your cloth accordingly. We'll put one on extra for the crack. One extra carriage on what we need, just in case. And there you go. That's your train. That's your match special, and it goes that way. And then you got to be here at the state. You got to be here at the station, Euston Station. If it's going south or to the west, it's Euston Station. If it's going north, it's going from Conley Station. If it's going up to Belfast or whatever. There you go. Sorted. Yeah. And that way you assuage the fears of Irish fans. You get to the ground for a certain time, you work it out, and you go, right. If it's you got to be, it's an 11 o'clock train, 11 p.m. train. And then you want to make a few bob? You put a drinks car on there.
Yeah.
You will make a fortune. You'll make a fortune. See, we should be running the country.
Well, exactly.
If anyone from Irish Rail, Corazon Pereira, are watching, there you go, or Ian Rodan, whatever they're called. James Agnew, how you doing, James? Good man. Evening, lads. Great topic. Just to start the conversation, we're playing the odd friendly outside of Dublin. Is a positive. I totally respect that Lansdowne Road is the hub and the FEI need the revenue. But as you say, a friendly involving solely Republic of Ireland domestic players could be played at another venue like Cork or Limerick. Even a bit of variety for us fans who go to every home game. That's true. I know you travel to every game, James, and you travel a hell of a... Well, I mean, we travel... Just saying, James, we travel a lot farther. We travel in London. Every game's an away game. But no, it is a lot easier for us to... it's a lot easier for us to get there because it's a flight, isn't it? You kind of you price that in. But no, good point there. John Buckley, the GA have the stadia. UFEI would have to deal with them if it comes to hosting games outside of Dublin. Okay, yeah, fair enough. That the FEI would have to deal with them. The GAA, I think, is what John's trying to say there. Yeah, that's the problem. They'd have to deal with them, and they would probably make it very awkward because the GAA see football as a threat. It's no threat at the moment, but I think if you had a series, if the FEI managed to get their shit together, man, it's a bit like politics, isn't it? GAA are the party in charge of the country, no threat over here. But when the opposition comes in, and you go, okay, we got to tighten up, lads. There's no threat from the FEI at the moment. They're so far behind. But yeah,
the GAA are actually playing a little bit into the FEI's hands or other sporting communities' hands with their decision on their changes to their calendar. That's not been popular within GAA circles. So we the FEI, football interests capitalize on that. Just go, Jesus, they've done this. They've given us a window now where normally everyone will be geared up to the first weekend and second Sunday of September, or whatever it is. And now they've given us that window. They've given us an extra month, 6 weeks. You can try and work with getting football people involved. So
yeah, no, 100%. David Hopeheimer pushes for another third-party tournament. Would love to see Ireland win another trophy before England. We could have our 3 stars. Yep. Iceland. Hey, Iceland. There you go. Icelandic tournament in 1986. The Heroes of 86. The Heroes of 2011. Nations League. We should have had the US
Nations
Cup.
Wasn't it? Is it Carl? Was it
Nations? Sorry, Carling Nations Cup. Sorry, yes. We won that. So we should have 2 stars. Where are 2 stars, by the way, on a crest? And we should have a third one. We should have had the US Cup 2000. We were robbed of that one, actually. Absolutely robbed of that one. James Gaffney. Ireland played 2 games at Thomond Park in Limerick in 2009. We beat South Africa 1-0 with a Liam Lawrence goal, despite South Africa having most of the possession. Kind of standard, James, really, under trap. And a couple of vuvuzelas in the crowd. Jesus, I remember those. We were also beaten 3-0 by Australia there. About 20,000 attended the Oz game. I would have been one of them, James, but I couldn't because I couldn't get back from it. And I was just a whippersnapper. West Coaster, James O'Brien is many things. A disc jockey is not one of them. Well, technically he is, because the day after the election, he played Nina Simone, A New Day, A New Dawn. So technically he is. He did actually do that. You know the song, Martin. New Day, New Dawn, yeah. Yeah, I like my politics. Stephen Ring, I said it to you Sunday, Dave, about Carsley taking the English job. And I think it's getting more and more realistic since. Yeah, it is. Gary Neville put his weight behind it, Stephen. You did say that. And Gary Neville put his weight behind it. I think he was looking for a domestic manager now. He didn't say Carsley. But I think he was saying that what's the point in having a coaching setup if you're not going to follow the continuity plan, which gave England the second most successful manager, and the next manager to beat him has to win a trophy. Could it be Lee Carsley?
And Lee Carsley has won a trophy, so
he has indeed. The Euros. Nurick, how you doing? Carsley will only be interim manager if FA have Klopp or Guardiola lined up to take over afterwards. Yeah, I can see that if they're holding on. I don't know. I did say actually when Klopp went, Martin, I did say that his next job would be one of 2 jobs, either England or Liverpool.
England or Liverpool?
Yeah. No, I haven't. I'm not having a stroke. No, honestly, yeah, because I thought if he'll take over England because it'll suit him. It's a bit more relaxed, and it's what 5 million a year, whatever it is. It's a serious chunk of change, and that'll give him, okay, yeah, I'm in football. I'm not bored, and I still have a lot to offer, which he does, and he can relax a bit more until it starts going wrong and he starts getting absolutely battered by the press. Or he takes his break. It goes horribly wrong at Liverpool, Arnie Slot, and then they get him back. And then he goes, you know what? I'm refreshed. A bit like Kenny when Kenny left Liverpool that time. And he actually, when he resigned in 91, he actually at the end of the season wanted to come back. And they said, oh, wish you had told us sooner. We gave it to soonest. Yeah. Did you know that?
No.
Well, you do now. Where we go. Stephen Ring. I don't think Carsley should be booed. The FAI is such a shit show, proved by some of the questions fielded to Heimer. Nobody could blame him for not taking it. He offered to be a scout for the FAI 10 years ago, and he said, no, thanks, we're grand. He's done nothing wrong from my point of view. Yeah, fair enough, Stephen. I mean, don't listen to Martin. I'm not canvassing for him to be booed, by the way. You take that look right off your face, Prendergast. But the way it is, if he's there as England manager, they're not going to think that deep about it, Stephen, as you have, as thoughtful as you have. I think he will get booed. He shouldn't, but I think he will. Dave McGuinness, how you doing, David? Should he be booed? No, absolutely not. Will he be booed? Yes. We have some low IQ folks in our fan base. Will Lee Carsley care? Absolutely not.
Okay, that's very funny.
What?
We have some low IQ folks in our fan base. That's very true.
It is. Isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Jesus,
Should we
you see a lot of them on away trips.
You do. Well, I
I
tried
how they
to
managed to go to the away trips. To be fair,
find the front door to leave.
Jesus. Yeah.
So I was just snorted there. Sorry, not kind of. No. Oh God, we're getting delirious. Sorry, folks. It's all okay. It starts so well. It's all kind of falling apart. I think when I called this the green machine by mistake, I think we knew we were kind of fucked since then. David Giddis, so Carsley gets it and does okay. Even if it's only an interim role, he's still a potential future Ireland manager and should not be alienated in any way. That's a good point. That is a good point. I think we should be bigger than that. Were you happy England lost, Martin, on Sunday?
I wasn't bothered either way. I kind of said to a lot of people, I kind of in my head I was kind of thinking, but I was trying to kind of persuade myself to not be too bothered about it if they did, because I was thinking it will make. I was trying to think of a really positive spin, which sounds a bit mad, but we'll have loads of people in Ireland following it, like kids will know the names and they'll start taking up football, and it might kind of piggyback on the back of their success in a way. And I think just we've kind of got to get over the rivalry. It's more from our side than theirs. I know the history of that's never going to go away. We know that, but I kind of in a way thought it wouldn't have bothered me if they'd won it, because they're going to get success somewhere soon, and they've gone well above us now in levels. But I wasn't. I was quite happy that they didn't, to be honest, as well. So
I just want to say,
I was just being nice to everybody else. Like anyone in my kind of circle, friends, I was going, "Oh, it'd be great for you if they win it now. Give the country a lift." And you live in here as well, Dave, and it would have massively lifted the country. And I know we got a lot of. I think you got a lot of stick, didn't you, a little bit? And I've seen people commenting saying, "Oh, I can't believe I'm on an Irish football podcast wanting England to win, or trying to justify wanting England to win." It wasn't that. It's more. It was just where we are. It would have given a lift, but also I think Irish football would benefit off the back of success for English football, whether you like it or not. We've got a lot of second, third generation now. We've got players, Lee Carsley, Matt Holland, people who've played. They don't hate England. They don't. They feel part of it. Callum Robinson's best friends with Jack Grealish. He doesn't hate England. He doesn't begrudge him success and stuff, really.
No, they don't.
So it's that's kind of all gone away now. That that rivalry. Yeah. I don't know. Was it ever really there for some of the players and stuff? Maybe it is for the hardened thing. I think one of the things we got a grief about was, that you having a dig about James McLean and stuff. I know it's different for James McLean how he feels about England and English. That's different. And I think that's a massive challenge for a manager as well to understand that. of coming in and understanding why he feels so passionately about Ireland and anti-English, whereas other players coming in there, Declan Rice when he was in there, he didn't have that hatred of England because he's been brought up in England. So
Well, no,
and
we
other
did
players
say up
wouldn't
the
use
rad,
that.
didn't he, on a text?
He hated, yeah.
Yeah. I just want to say hello to Jay, who's just on the WhatsApp group, the notorious WhatsApp group that I mention here all the time, who seem to be gunning for me at the moment. Apparently, with the ringleaders of the Kulak riots promoting hate, is what he said. I don't have a producer, Jay. I'm going at, I'm moving and I'm going at pace, and then I see a comic. Oh Christ! See, I don't have a producer. So that's why it's gone up there. Yeah, sorry, I just saw that came up on the WhatsApp there. But very well spoken, though, Martin. Yes. No, I think we should be bigger than that, to be honest. I mean, if you don't like England because of football reasons, and to be fair, I wanted them to get battered after the Slovakia game because I thought they were an absolute disgrace with the riches they have in terms of attacking talent, and they produced that. I thought, you know what, just go. And then they got to the final. I thought, you know what, you're here now, you might as well win it. Lift up the country that I live in. My sister will be happy. Family members will be happy. It'll wind up the lads in that WhatsApp group. Fantastic. More of the lads here. And we'll probably get a bank holiday and get double pay. Never happened, but there you go. We'll move it on. David H. From what I've seen online, that a lot of fans aren't even mentioning Carsley. This is in England. They all seem to want Potter or Howe. Don't think Carsley would get it. Not a big enough name. That I do agree with. But I think he might. There's a chance he might have it as an interim. But then he might not. Dave McGuinness said, rather John O'Shea taking a club job and growing as a coach manager and getting some experience. I disagree. I'd think he'd be good where he is with Heimer and learning from a pro. He's a pro, Heimer. He's a good coach, and I think he could learn a lot from this guy. He's managed in Iceland, he's managed in Saudi Arabia, and he's managed in Jamaica. They weren't too happy. Mark Lynch, I think a lot of fans would be too busy asking to see Declan Rice's international winners' medals to boo Carsley. Oh. Dave McGuinness, do we think Heimer has done more than 2 weeks of management without any games played to convince the fan base he's the right man? Without any games played, sorry, let me start that again. Do we think Heimer has done more than 2 weeks of management without any games played to convince the fan base he's the right man than Kenny did in 3 years? I think he has. I hear you laughing, Mr. Prendergast. Look, Kenny was a poor communicator when it came to media. And he was very bad. And we know it. And he just probably thought he was very good, a gentleman, a footballing man. And I wish him nothing but the best. But yeah, Heimer is clearly, he's a pro. He's polished. He looks like Hannibal Smith. Hold on, let me just kind of find that. Can I find that picture? There we go. I mean, come on. He just needs a cigar, doesn't he? He's a pro. He's media trained, or maybe he's not media trained. He's just very, very, very polished, and that gives you confidence. He could be the biggest. I'm not saying he is, by the way, but I'll rephrase that. You could be whoever the biggest bullshitter going, but if you speak with confidence, you feel reassured, even though the person's talking nonsense. And I'm not saying that's the case with Heimer, but he's a clear communicator. And I think, yes, I think he's going to be very good for us and very good for the FAI.
I think it's positive as well. A couple of things I just want to point out over the last few comments. I think it's very positive for him, a brilliant communicator, as you said. But he's also. The question I'd like to have the FAI now, Mark Canham and the board, basically, is the pathway, the infamous pathway. Is there a plan is the progression plan something they want to look at? So, because this has come from Heimer being interviewed and asked about it and said, well, from his experience, it worked really well. It seems that must be the way they're going, because otherwise he's gone rogue, hasn't he? And he's going down to John O'Shea and thinking, yeah, it makes sense for him to come in and then be the next manager. I think it's what's brilliant if it is that it's a brilliant kind of recruitment by the FAI, because he's one who's been in that deal before. He's been in the shared job and stuff, and he's made it work successfully. So It's
Do
whether
you think
John
it's been a
O'Shea
bit of
comes
a
in and fills
PR? Do you think it's been a bit of a PR man? Like,
Oh,
there's no,
without doubt, yeah,
yeah.
he's the party lines there and all the positivity, and even
Mm.
in the first interview, he was saying about the working hard and and a great recruitment and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
He said everything right. He wasn't going to kind of fall down on that, which I think was good. And the other point, just obviously, we're chatting about would Lee Carsley be booed? There's no way Declan Rice is travelling to Dublin. He's not coming, is he?
For a
That's
Nations
2
League
weeks
game?
into the season. He's not coming. Nah.
We'll see. We'll see. You're probably right, by the way. Aaron Flaherty, how you doing, Aaron? A bit of this comment gets cut off, Aaron, so do apologise for that. Lee Carsley shouldn't be booed. He's obviously ambitious, and it's the FAI's own fault for not bringing him on board in some capacity, especially with the potential of Carsley becoming the Irish boss in the future. John O'Shea needs to manage a club to gain experience and prove himself first. Kenny was a huge mistake. The FAI need to sit down and come up with a DNA for Irish football and implement staff who can carry that out from the under-21 level down to grassroots, so there's not just a pathway. That's not the full comment there. Hasn't come up there, but I see what you're saying there. That's actually, I think he's raised a very good point there. Is Jim Crawford not getting a little bit forgotten about there? Like, is that not part of the pathway there? Just quickly on that, Martin.
I think Jim's quite happy though, isn't he, with the under-21s, and I think his real job now is he's got to kind of deliver on that. We've been quite close qualification on the under-21s. I think he likes that. Interviews I've heard from him is he likes that development role. His job is to get people ready for the senior team, and I think he's more suited to that. And we've come quite close, and I think give him the players, and I think soon enough he will deliver. These under-21s are a good bunch, and I like the way the chopping and changing coming into the senior squad. He's getting them ready. And I think, I'd rather see him stay there, but also have assistants in with him who are, from the FAI kind of coaching background.
Yeah, fair. Dave McGuinness, agree, Dave. Thank you, David. I think this guy would be very good for us. I did say the Heimer, I think would be very good for Irish football. And David approves already. Raymond McInerney, Legends, that's on our fantastic ad, which we're going to be putting out shortly. West Coast. If you wanted an ad that highlights your professionalism, that wasn't it. No, I mean,
professionalism. What's that?
What's that? Yeah. Christ, that was good fun. I must do that again. No, sorry, Gibraltar. Do you remember people thought that we thought that we got on the wrong plane? Like,
brilliant. Yeah, that was good.
God. And then so like Ryanair doesn't go to Gibraltar.
You idiots! It kind of went. It nearly went viral. The fact that we were going to be people were trying to make us viral. They went to the wrong place.
It's like, no, he didn't. Stephen Ring, I'd like to see John go manage elsewhere. He's been too loyal to the FAI while they have dicked him around. Like Heimer said, in regards to him, it might be hard for him to go from managing the team back to being assistant. I think he needs experience elsewhere as manager before taking over the Ireland job. Raymond McInerney to Limerick for once. I presume that's. I'm not sure if you're talking about 2009 or you'd like to see the game go to Limerick. Dave McGuinness again. Even HH will take time to unravel the mess Kenny left behind. You can't just click your fingers and expect the style to change instantly. John O'Shea only had 4 games and is also now responsible. He's also responsible for Kenny Ball. Kenny is solely responsible for that debacle. Oh, he's not at all responsible for Kenny Ball, John O'Shea. Kenny is solely responsible for that debacle. John O'Shea started the process of unraveling it, and HH will continue that over the course of the Nations League. Roll on march for the beginning of the HH Ball era. Connor, there's no way that they should play a men's senior game in Cork. I know it's good to spread games out and stuff, but imagine being in the stands, being behind the goals, you're 100 yards away, it ruins the atmosphere. I wouldn't say it's a great place to watch a game of football. I remember Croke Park was quite bad as well. The atmosphere wasn't great. Too far. So, nothing against the place. It's not a football ground. But I've never been to Park of Queeve. I've never been to Park of Queeve at all. Irish Football Block. How you doing, Bill? Mallow is a great place. I've only ever gone through it on the train where you go into the tunnel. What's the name of Cork Station again? It's like an English name or something. Kent Station or something like that, is it? Come on, Martin.
I don't know, actually. Cork City Station.
Is it Kent? Cork Station. name. Kent Station. I was right. See?
After, like, how's it spelled? CEANNT.
No.
No, oh, it's Kent.
Kent. That's if in
K-E-N-T.
Kent,
Oh, I
yeah.
thought it might
The
have been
Irish is
named after.
Stashun Kent.
What are you
Stashun
calling
Kent. You're a Kent. You're a Kent,
No, I
man.
thought it might have been named after like
Roy Keane. Kent.
no.
Yes.
No, Irish
Must have been named after. There you go. Kent Station, named after Roy Keane. Up Mala. Oh Jesus, we got Bill going now. He's drunk on Corkness. David McGuinness again. John Muckian up and down from Cork to see that Kenny shite. I tip my hat to you. Declan Finnegan, the Women's National Team Supporters Club and Chris have approached the FAI about there being no facility to have players' names on the shirt. Apparently, it is something they intend to address with their high street and online retailers. Good man, Declan. Fair play to you. Do you know what? And I've said it before, Martin. Irish fans, okay, I know David McGuinness said there's some with low IQs, but there's also some with very high IQs, well-paid jobs, well-educated, smart people, and they're highly paid professionals, and they're happy to give that expertise to the FAI for free through the fan base or whatever, and the FAI should listen to it. They should listen to it. And they should listen to people like Declan. They should listen to people like you, Martin. And there's people here that have great ideas as well. They should create a funnel those ideas. I'm telling you now, there's so much money to be made. But anyway, Stephen Ring. I was at the Europa League final, and the ticket included free loose and free dart. So can't see what he can't do for internationals. Oh my god! Every match ticket sold in Germany includes public transport to and from the game. There you go. There you go. You want
but see,
people going.
That's fine. Yeah, but like, so you could. It's not hard to do. I was thinking about this while we were chatting. When you book a Ryanair flight, you get the offer of, do you want to book a car hire? So that's what they've got to do. When you book an Ireland ticket and they say, where are you coming from? Travel. How are you getting there? Basically, is a question. And you can say, do you know about the football special bus or the football special train?
Yeah.
And you book it at a favourable rate, and then you put that on. And
are you outside of
do
Dublin?
It at a loss for a little while? You then. Or you follow up, they know where the ticket's being purchased, the FAI through Ticketmaster. You just filter that little report and you say, right, you've 10,000 or whatever it is from Cork who are travelling up. Do you want us to put these trains on? Would you be interested in that? Yes or no? And that's it.
Yeah.
And you have a limited time for things like that. And that's how it works.
Yeah. And then you got the Irish Rail. Just to let you know, you got a train there. We got 200 fans coming up from Cork or whatever.
Yeah.
And you go, grand, right? That's 5 carriages. We'll put them on. We'll put a train car on there. We'll make a fortune from it. You make a fortune. Drinks, coffee, whatever you want, alcohol. Be grand. It would make a fortune. Sandwiches. Oh, you could even have sandwiches on the way home.
Yeah,
because you're starving.
It can be done.
Easy done. You sell chips or something like. God. Declan Finnegan, Irish are putting on 6 extra trains from both Cork and Ennis for the hurling final on Sunday.
There you go. That's it. Exactly that. That's it. There's demands there. And it's just filtering a report saying we've had 1,000 people from Cork buy a ticket. Or you encourage them and say, we will do Cork people. If you're traveling from here, this is your ticket deal and you can have a train included in it. And there you go. And it's going to go back after this. There you go. This is the station you get to.
And then they adjust the carriages accordingly.
Yeah.
And you probably get it wrong. You probably have one where you don't have enough in the standing room. You have a ticket, make it comfortable. Don't treat football fans like shit. Your seat, your ticket is your seat. None of this standing nonsense. Right? You want to make it comfortable. You don't want to pack them in like, we'll put 2 carriages on, fuck it. We get them in like, no, your ticket is your seat. You do not sell a ticket without a seat. You make it comfortable. You have a drinks carriage going up and down. You make a fortune. You make a killing. Because and it pisses me off because football fans get treated like shit, and they really do get treated like shite. And and that's just from you see it in the Premier League all the time. I always remember watching Everton playing Arsenal in the Emirates, And to get from London to Liverpool is the train from Euston up to Lime Street Station. Done it many times. And I remember just sitting there, and an announcement came over the PA system. I was watching it on Sky. And they just said to Everton fans, just to let you know that the last train to Liverpool's been cancelled. If you need to get home, you need to leave now. The lads are at a match. I thought that's fucking shit. And that's in a country with a world class infrastructure, just run by idiots. And I think football fans just get treated so poorly by UEFA, by FIFA, by everybody, and it just winds me up. But anyway. Last couple of comments here, guys. John Buckley, I would like to think Irish fans would never boo a former player just because he became an interim England manager. Irish fans don't boo foreign anthems. Irish fans show class. I'm proud to be Irish. Good man, John. I think you'll find that the anthem will change on September. I think they will boo that, but hopefully not. But
just to come in on the anthems, I don't know. It's a passionate kind of debate between some of our writers' group, isn't it, about how the Irish players should sing the anthem. I don't know if you saw that, Dave, about it kind of went a little bit viral. The guy who said, look at that for the final the other day, how passionately the English players sang God Save the King compared to the Spanish players who didn't sing along to their anthem, and it actually doesn't have any lyrics. Which I thought was very good.
That is good. I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? If you win the tournament, you gotta be seen to sing. If you want an MBE, you better sing that fucking anthem.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Even Carragher sang it, didn't he? He was kind of forced to sing it when he went to the World Cup in 2010.
Yeah,
it's back up
a bit too fucking loudly for my life.
He loves it, doesn't he? Yeah, he fucking loves it. Stephen Ring, I bet if Adidas made their kits, then you could get names on them. Possibly. You probably get them a story upside down or spelling mistake. That'll be the next one, spelling mistakes. Stephen Ring, the last comment of the night. Let's be honest, the public transport in this country is shite. Even if the FAI were to get involved with Irish Rail or bus company, nothing would change. I got the train up to Dublin for the Heineken Cup final last May, and the train came into Port with only 3 carriages. Oh, Jesus. The train had to go through 10 stations on the day of the European final that Leinster were in, and it was so full in no time that people in the last 3 to 4 stations weren't able to get on. See, there you go. You sell it with a fucking ticket. It winds me up. I remember a friend of mine when I was working Virgin were great actually, but she bought a ticket for a seat and she couldn't get near it. The train was so packed, and she got a full refund. You sell a ticket for your seat, man, and hopefully alleviates that. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you very much to the Roar Faithful for getting involved there for a late night. A little bit later. Sorry we were delayed getting online, but we're live every Wednesday on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and we will have a little something for you on Friday. So we try to do 3 podcasts a week: Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday is the live, and if there's something breaking in Irish football, a big story, we'll tend to do a live on that one as well. So
we're not on next Wednesday though. Just saying all that, we're not on next Wednesday.
Shit, yeah, we're not on next Wednesday because we're in the Irish Embassy, so we won't look. We try to get as many out as we can, but we won't be live next Wednesday because we will be at the Irish Embassy.
We're being honoured.
We're being honoured by the Irish. Well, I am. Yeah, us too. Yes. The podcast has been honoured. 40 years of the podcast. We're being honoured at the Risklund Republic of Ireland Soccer Supporters Club 40th anniversary has been honoured by the Irish ambassador to the UK, and looking forward to going to get my old tie on, Martin. I'm going to get tarted up, and can't wait to do that. But if there is something big next week, Martin, we might do a cheeky live.
No, we'll be on.
We'll be on somewhere.
Yeah,
we'll be on somewhere. So Monday, most Wednesdays, and Friday with the live on a Wednesday. Right, Martin. Thank you very much for joining me, and thank you out there, the Roar Faithful, for joining us. It's been a pleasure. We love talking to the Roar Faithful, and some cracking numbers tonight. It's a late one on a Wednesday. Just thank you so much. As always, please, if you haven't, please hit the subscribe button. It does help. The YouTube subscribe button. Also, scan that QR code. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter. And if you want an opinion, head over to our website, which is lansdowneroar.ie. lansdowneroar.ie. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Thank you. Good night. God bless. And safe home, I think.